Hello and welcome back, my friends. Today I wanted to post a short video to help you, you folks with real estate rentals, apartment rentals, or those who are looking to purchase rental property. I want to share this short little video on what I'm finding in terms of the applications that are coming across my desk for some vacancies that I have on my apartments, right? So over the last couple of years, I've seen more and more women come across as applicants for the vacancies that I have, right? And so there's, as a landlord, as a property owner, there's certain things you can do to better cater to that demographic. And so I wanted to share those things. And then secondly, I wanted to share that what I'm seeing these days is because of the pandemic and because of the affordability issues we see out there, I'm finding more and more roommate situations come across on these applicants as well, right? So, and there's different ways you can protect yourself somewhat for those roommate situations, right? So I want to share a little bit about that as well. So stay tuned. We'll get to that one. But first, I want to go back to the female demographic, women who are applying for apartments, and share four things in particular that they are looking for, at least from what I found in my years of doing business. Right. One of them is should go without saying, is security, right? They value that first and foremost, right? So one of the things, easy thing you can do is make sure that the lock set on the apartment is changed, right? Or rekeyed, right? That, and make sure that's communicated to the applicant so that they understand it's going to be secure and safe for them, right? So that's something easy and cheap to do, right? Second thing is make sure you have your walkways and paths and parking lots well lit, right? If you don't, relatively cheap to have your electrician come out and put up some lights, right? So that's going to help provide a safe, secure environment, right? So security, number one, right? Number two is they like to have the laundry unit, the washer dryer inside the unit. So if you have apartments now, if you don't have washer dryers in the unit, try to find a way to place those appliances inside the unit because it's definitely something the female demographic is looking for, right? And if you can't, try to find a place and on the property where you can place washer dryers for communal use, right? But preferably inside the unit because, again, it provides a convenience that they enjoy. And then also from a safe and secure environment, they don't have to leave the unit to go do laundry. And it's just a better environment. So that's the second. And then the third is if you have a pet policy or don't have a pet policy, you might want to take a look at what makes sense for you as a building owner, because I know for a fact women like to come home to a comfortable environment, which may include having a pet, a cat or a dog. And I know there's limitations with certain pets, right? Certain breeds from an insurance liability standpoint. So you got to be careful with that. But if you're able to create an environment for your tenant that is comfortable and they can come home to a pet, that may be a win-win situation for you both. So I would encourage you to take a look at your pet policy. And then the fourth thing I found that really helps to secure primarily the female demographic as great renters is having a small garden space, if you can, on your property, right? Something where they can plant herbs, vegetables, flowers, what have you, right? It just kind of creates more of a community. And I found that they really enjoy that. That's something we can provide as property owners, landlords. That's something we can provide for very low cost. It's zero maintenance for the most part, and it really adds value for the tenant, right? So those are the four things I find the female demographic today is looking for: security, laundry facility inside the unit, a comfortable pet policy where they can have a cat or dog, and then also having a small garden space for them to enjoy, right? So now moving on to the roommate situation, right? Roommate situations are slightly different than having just a single occupant as a renter, right? So roommate situations, there's also four things there I would make sure you're mindful of, one of which is the security deposit and how you're receiving that, right? If you receive it in the form of, say, a check from one of the roommates, make sure that it is clearly documented that that security deposit is going to be held in terms of being held for the apartment, right? So if one roommate ends up moving out, that security deposit is still held against the apartment until the second roommate actually moves out of the apartment, right? So sometimes there's confusion in terms of, oh, I paid for the security deposit, but I'm moving out, and then the other roommate is still staying there. And how do you handle that? Make sure that that security deposit agreement is clearly understood so that you don't get into any trouble there. Secondly, with roommate situations, it's how do you deal with one of the roommates moving out, right? So clearly have that detailed in your lease agreement in terms of if it's a year-long lease and one of the roommates moves out within 3 months of the start date, how do you handle that? Does the other roommate have the liberty to bring in a new roommate for the balance of the lease period? Or if one of the roommates moves out, does that mean they've broken the lease and now they both need to move out so you can find a new tenant, right? How does that all work, right? So that's a little nuance there that you need to make sure you understand and you account for, right? Another thing that's obviously very important is rent payments, right? How are you going to collect rent? Are you going to, say the rent is 50-50 and they're both responsible for paying the rent, say on your payment website? Or is one roommate responsible for making sure that, the entire rent is submitted on the payment website, right? So that needs to be clearly understood and identified at the front end of the lease period, right? Prior to actually leasing it, right? In your documentation, that needs to be spelled out. And then the fourth thing is what I like to do is with roommate situations, I like to do frequent inspections, right? So on my standard rentals, where I have a single person or I may have a couple living in an apartment, I inspect the unit once a year, right? Just to take a look if there's any leaks under the sinks, if there's any issues that are brewing, any water damage that's happening, making sure that the plumbing's all working well, right? I do that once a year on all my units to make sure everything is running fine and well. But with roommate situations, what I tend to do is do those inspections more frequently, right? Because it gives me an opportunity to put a set of eyes on the apartment to make sure everything is being run well, making sure that things are kept clean, making sure that, is not a, pile of dishes in the sink causing, a pest infestation or of some sort, right? Just to be able to put a set of eyes on the property and making sure things are being kept clean and tidy. Right. So instead of doing it once a year, I might do it every 6 months or I might do it every quarter. Depends on the situation. but it just gives me a chance to, maintain my property in that way. So, so I hope these little tips help, and yeah, hopefully that's helpful. And if they are, please like this video and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.